about A Welcome Distraction. Super excited to talk with you guys about producing this movie. Let's start with the role of a producer, because when I started doing this, I was not entirely sure how to define that or like what that looked like. So like from your perspective, what is the role of a producer on a film? And then we'll talk a little bit about your role in this movie.
Yeah.
I think, like, that's a great question that you bring up. You're like, what on earth do producers do? And I think it's because there's just so many different types of producers, and obviously on, like, bigger budget films, you kind of get that breakdown and that variation of, like, actually having your exec and your line producers and your associate producers and your co-producers, and you know, it's nice having that big team and all that support, and then you can really kind of dive into like the nitty-gritty logistics of on the day shooting or kind of the more big picture financing stuff. But I think, you know, for our project, it was very independent, very self-made, and so we're kind of wearing all these different hats all at the same time, which is a lot of work, but it's also kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
I think I was stepping into this producer role relatively fresh, Maddy being a pretty seasoned producer at this point. I think something that I realized very early on was that it's about saying yes and making it work. Like that, I think the producer is somebody that problem solves in like the background at all times, and it's a very fun challenge, especially when you're giving like an indie project, because like you said, we're rotating through these different hats. But it's kind of fun to see where you end up and like what place you are, and also seeing the project to its like full vitality. That's like so satisfying from start to finish.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about A Welcome Distraction. I get paranoid making sure that everything's recording, so I just have to double check. So let's talk about A Welcome Distraction. What attracted you guys to this movie?
It was such an unusual, I guess, approach of getting kind of like this project, because like typically you get the script, you'd read it, you'd make your decision, you know, months before anything ever happens. But this project started off as kind of a way for Brian, our director, to just like practice directing and writing. So at first it was, he just wrote a scene, and we shot that in February of 2023. And I was like half involved at that point, but like I didn't go to set for that shoot. And yeah, that was kind of the original idea of this, was Brian would write a scene, we'd upload it to like Instagram once a month, and it would just be kind of like this exercise.
I think like, so at this time we have a cohort of friends that are constantly working in and off set. We know each other's roles, and we're kind of like this community that like keeps tabs on one another. And I think there was a point where we were all working 9-to-5s, whether to like get permanent residency or, you know, have a little bit of financial stability. And we found that there was a kind of lack of creativity on our end. And so deciding to just create by necessity was a huge part of like making this. And we thought, hey, you know what, we'll just shoot once a month. We might make a short, this might be a web series, this might just be kind of this like periodic thing where we get to exercise this muscle that we love so much. And it, I think, slowly snowballed. I think we watched our dailies from like the 2 shoots back to back, and we were all just sitting in our living room. And we thought, oh, wait, hold on a minute. It's going to be starring Simon Farrell, one of our close friends, and we're going to be filming with him every month. Why not just try and make a feature? And I think it was kind of a whisper at that point. We just kind of threw that out there as like a fun little laugh. And then, I think we're really all good at committing. I think we commit to the bit a bit. So, it became a feature just out of the need. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great. It's such a Vancouver film. It's so Vancouver encoded. Like I love how much the city is present in this movie. Tell me about the benefits of filming and filmmaking here in Vancouver.
The geography, the landscape, the people, the talent, the skills, the technicians, it's like Vancouver has everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and there's that joke, like Vancouver never plays itself, and it can play itself. It can play itself in a multitude of ways. And the seasonality is, because we get to show it in the film, it's like we film for a whole year, we get to do the fall, the winter, the summer. The one thing that I don't think is in there is rain, but that's really funny. It's a nice little joke for the insider Vancouver, right?
False advertising, perhaps.
Yeah. But it was like, the phrase "work within our means."
Yeah, that was kind of our mantra throughout the process of just doing everything and anything that we could, within our means. And, I think even though this was super low budget and super indie, there was also a certain freedom that came along with that. And just being such a small, kind of nimble crew, being able to walk around town and just, really get the sights and sounds of the city. And yeah, I think it's a shame that there aren't as many projects as there should be that showcase Vancouver in its full
Especially since I feel like there's so much production happening in Vancouver.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get like all of these great technicians who, have honed their skills on these like massive sets, and then, they're your neighbor, and you ask if they can dolly grip for a day, and you get a great shot out of it, and share a beer at the end.
That's great. I'm curious, what things are you looking for? What qualities in a script or a film are you looking for before you commit to signing on to a project?
I think for me, it's actually more so the director's vision and their like conviction for the project and their passion. And I think a question that I always will ask them is, why do you need to make this? Like you specifically, and why do you need to do it now? And I feel like depending on that person's answer, it can be quite revealing about their intentions for the project, their hopes and dreams for it. And I always love working with people who just have such a clear and bold vision for what they want to do, because I feel like having that feeling, that fire that you're kind of burning within you is just so necessary to be able to just finish the project, because you're with this thing for so long, and as producers, it's like you're sometimes with it for even longer than the director. And so I think it's just really important to make sure that you have that kind of shared belief in the room that you can really do something special, because I feel like we're all kind of the type of people who are just so all in on something. We can't really do anything that's like half and half. So that's like a big thing that I look for. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think like that's a great answer on Maddy's part. Also, I'm so sorry. It's just buzzing, and I don't know why. Okay. I would echo that for sure. I think also seeing if the story is sticking its neck out creatively, taking a risk, I think is important. And also, seeing if the director and the writer are speaking, from a very true part of themselves. And if there's like a lot of research behind it. I feel like we all want to tell all these like great stories, but it does require a lot of thoughtfulness and intention, and to try and do something that, nobody's seen before, or, that kind of attempt I think is really attractive in a project. So that would be my only addition, but great answer.
So when it came to A Welcome Distraction, I want to hear more about working with Brian, the director. What was your favorite part about collaborating with him?
Well.
Yes. Be honest. Pretend like
he's not in the room. Well, here's the thing.
Right.
No, it's great. Brian is he won't give himself the credit, which is so funny because it's he's humbling himself all the time. But he's a fantastic writer who cares very deeply about his actors, and the story that he's trying to communicate. I think watching him work. Also, he's writing these scripts kind of a month in advance. So he's kind of writing at a pace that is maybe antithetical to putting together a feature. And just seeing how committed he was to putting that together was very inspiring. But I think you mentioned something earlier that was great about working with Brian.
There's so many things. I mean, yeah, we all went to film school together, and I had produced the short film that he made, when we were in school, and so this was kind of like, the first kind of bigger thing that we both did together after that. And I think like going back to that conviction piece that I mentioned earlier, like I think when Brian kind of locks in on that target of his, it's kind of like no one's gonna stop him. And I find it very fulfilling to be able to help a creative, help a director, just like see the vision through. And I felt like even though we were writing scripts every month and like that vision on paper maybe wasn't super clear, I think we all kind of like collectively understood that what we were making was going to be something that was really creatively fulfilling for everybody. And
I think we know that Brian will complete something.
Yeah.
There is a lot about Brian where he will see a project through to the end, even if it's maybe painful for him or painful for other people. He has this conviction that really takes him all the way, which is honestly, like, it's a great thing to have in a leader for a project. I often think it's definitely a lonely place to be in. Yeah. And so knowing that the person that is like spearheading this is like really kind of putting their all into it and almost like working harder than everybody else to get it done is not only like a great friend, but someone you can put all your trust into, which is what you see in this film. It's like we wouldn't have been able to do what we did if the people around us didn't trust Brian and trust his vision and all the decisions that he was kind of making on the fly.
And I think we kind of kept on saying that we don't think that we would have been able to finish this movie if, we all weren't friends before.
And we stayed friends after.
But there just is this natural kind of like shorthand that we all have with each other, and just knowing kind of each other's limits, each other's strengths, weaknesses as well. But I think also with Brian, he is also very conscious of like the production and kind of like certain parameters that we're working with, certain challenges that we're trying to overcome. And I think it's a very gracious thing to have as a director, to also kind of have that in the back of your mind, and you're not always thinking about the creative and the script and the actors and blah blah blah. And so it's really nice to be able to work with somebody who is able to kind of put themselves in our shoes for a moment. And I think that also strengthens the collaboration of everything. So.
And we all had such a good time making it. Like, honestly, like Brian laughing, with Andre Simon just in the corner here, Maddy and I like trying on different costumes or like location scouting. And it just, we were having a really good time just working together. And I'm excited for people to see what this team can do, because we can do a lot with very little. And just imagine what we could do with a little bit of something, you know?
Yeah, which leads me to my last question. So imagine you're at the world premiere and you guys are walking out of the theater and you're overhearing people like talking about it and having their reactions. What would be the most rewarding thing for you to hear people say about this movie?
Oh my God. I think for me, just being like, oh my God, they did that. Maybe I could go do something like that too.
I love that.
Because again, I feel like there's such a talented, independent film community here, and I just feel like we don't get the attention that we deserve, because we are such a service town. I would just love for people to feel like that they can take that chance, they can take that shot, go big, go bold, and do something crazy. Because I feel like, this entire time we were making it, I was like, this is objectively crazy what we're doing. Like shooting every other month with no script and then figuring out a script. Which, again, yeah, crazy.
I'm having flashbacks. You're seeing like images float through my mind.
And yeah, like at the beginning of this VIFF, like the thought of even a festival run was not even really on the question because it just felt so not normal. But then again, it's like there's no normal way to make a movie. There's no right way to make a movie. And I kind of hope that people have that takeaway after.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't know if you heard. I just want to.
Pretty sure it was that camera, so I think you guys are good. We'll just go ahead and wrap it up. Say your last statements about what would be the most rewarding thing for you to overhear people say about this movie?
I'm imagining walking. They're in front of me. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it's like maybe an older couple.
Yeah.
I would love for people to kind of like maybe walk out a little bit closer to each other than maybe they walked in. I think I would like for people to maybe like appreciate like the people around them, and I think echoing Maddy's sentiments about that you can make it and you can like make it with the people around you is so incredibly true. And I think treating people like human beings and putting people first is such a big part of this film. And so yeah, I think walking out a little giggly, a little like, should we go get beers? Like, should we, go get a little...
Should we connect? Let's talk.
Yeah, exactly. Let's connect and talk. Let's build on goals. Yeah, and not take each other so seriously. Like, we're all into this because this is our medium. Like, this is what we love to do. And I hope someone goes like, what are they going to do next? A little something like that. Yeah. Maybe that's layered.
Well, congratulations. Really excited for you guys and your career at this point. And I'm excited for more people to see the film. So looking forward to it doing its festival run. And of course, I'm going to be keeping up with you guys in your careers, okay?